Let's make some noise. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you once again, Nick Foles, for amping up the audience. Hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome back to another rousing episode of the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's Rap Sports Network. With your boy MattyB on the call on our Thursday night final broadcast night of our broadcast. Final night. I keep saying the word broadcast. Final night of our broadcast week. We've come to the end of another week. And, we got a lot to talk about because this is your final word in your Philadelphia sports day, as well as my final word. It's our final word, as we are one big, happy, dysfunctional family here on the network. Phillies, 7-game winning streak. They've done something today that they were unable to do in 142-plus seasons, and that was actually sweep a season series. Is that correct? Today, and result of the Phillies' 2-0 win over the Rockies, they finished the season series with the Rockies at a 7-0 clip. They have never done that in the history of their franchise. And today was a first. So congratulations to the Phillies for checking off a box that I find extremely amazing that they've never done before. They sweep the season series up from a team for the first time ever in franchise history. So congratulations to the Phillies, but not all is well, because we're going to get into a lot about this series and a lot about the last 7 games and maybe a little bit about the next 3 games, as we'll discuss the road to 7 games, to a 7-game win streak and what that might mean beyond. And of course, we're going to discuss the status of the Colorado Rockies, a disgrace to Major League Baseball. 8-42 through 50 games. There's something wrong there, folks. And Barbara was the first person to bring it up on this program a few weeks back when she made a comment that Colorado, Pittsburgh, and Miami should not have a Major League Baseball franchise. At the time that I heard it, I was like, you know what? That's not fair. Everyone deserves a team. But now that I've seen it, and I witnessed what the Colorado Rockies have been this season, and I witnessed firsthand what the Pirates are, and now we've seen maybe to a lesser extent what the Marlins are, she might be on to something. I think it's criminal, and I think it's unhealthy for baseball. The year after year after year statuses of these teams that never get any better. And I think there should be some changes made. I think the Rockies should sell either to a different owner who obviously wants to win and spend the money to win, or relocate to a different city that needs baseball and is begging for baseball. Because what's happening in Colorado and in Pittsburgh, it's disgusting. And Pittsburgh is a big-time baseball town. How do the Pittsburgh fans stand for this year after year after year? I mean, Pittsburgh goes back some time, man. They've been in this thing for a minute. They haven't been good in a minute either. But how do you stand for it? And Pittsburgh is part of this state. Now, again, I got it. The fan bases are 2 different entities. Can you imagine this fan base dealing with that? Now, lately it's been okay for us, but we sort of kind of have some history with losing. But, I mean, the Rockies have been in the league since 1993. And they've had what? 2, 3, maybe 4 good seasons in that time. It's just, if the people in Colorado don't want baseball, then get rid of the team. Sell it to somebody somewhere else who wants baseball and is actually going to spend money and try to build a winner. Because it's disrespectful, it's despicable, it's disgraceful. So we're going to get into some of the ins and outs of this series and ins and outs of this game. We're also going to talk to Tush Push Lives. We're going to put to bed the Tush Push. I'm done talking that today. We're also going to go over some of the other NFL rule changes that have been instituted now as a result of this owners meeting, and Jeff Lurie's interesting comments at the meetings, as well as he, I guess, rallied for an hour, conjuring all kinds of interesting visuals as he gave his speech to keep the Tush Push, or brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. We'll get into that. We'll get into the other night segment, card review, this day in Philadelphia sports history, and we'll go back into our top 10 worst trades in Phillies history, as far as I'm concerned. And we're also going to do a new list because it is Memorial Day weekend, or it's the eve of Memorial Day weekend. You wouldn't know it if you lived where I live. The high temperature today was 46 degrees where I live. And the high for the weekend, I think, is 50. And I don't think the sun is scheduled to make an appearance till sometime next week. But in other parts of the world where the sun shines and the temperature rises above 70, it's the unofficial start of summer. And in celebration of that, even though honestly it's not summer where I am, but in celebration of the unofficial start of summer, we're going to also go over MattyB's top 10 summer movie list of all time. That's right. Yeah, man, I'm a man of lists. That's all I do. Put my life in a list. We're gonna reveal what I think are the top 10 summer movies of all time. Again, according to me. All those great, wonderful things here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And before we get rolling, I just want to remind you that the network is in full bloom right now, and we're experiencing a spike in programming. And please make sure you're checking it out. The Attacking Third program, which preceded me, every Thursday nights at 9. This show that comes at you typically Sundays to Thursdays at 10. The wraparound with Pat, which will be on tomorrow at 10:30, and then of course your Sunday mornings will never be the same with the likes of the PNM and the AM program. So all the great, wonderful things we have happening here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, and it just keeps getting bigger and better and better. So let's continue rolling here. Nina Bonarchek says, "Hey, what's up, babe? No, I don't want to talk about a 14-year-old dog. The answer is no, absolutely no. Don't bring it up to me. It's no." Michael Papernick says Phillies had the best record in the National League, but are they the best team in the National League? That's an outstanding question, Michael, and I want to table that answer for a second because we'll lead off with that, but we are going to table that. But that's a great question. Joe Hale, how are you doing? Ricky Deal's watching as he always does, and no more Lappy. Yes, Ian Lapierre is gone. I believe so is Brad Shaw. Both of them are moving on to greener and greater pastures. I'll give you my take on that as well. Is there Saturday? Is there live Saturday and Sunday? Live what? Saturday we got the Fightins final. Sunday we got the PNM and the AM, and we got the Fightins final, and we got me. So Sunday we have 3 shows. Yes, no. If you're asking, is anything changing because of the holiday? No. We are full speed ahead here on the network, regardless of the holiday. So let's get it going. Let's strap in, strap on, strap it up. Keep your heads, hands, and feet inside the car at all times, and let's roll with this thing with your night in Philadelphia history or your day in Philadelphia history. A basketball fact. We're going to go way back to the year 1963 for this night in Philly sports history, because on this day in Philly sports history, the NBA approved officially the move of the Syracuse Nationals to the city of Philadelphia. So on this day, about a year after the Warriors took off for San Francisco, leaving Philadelphia without an NBA franchise, the Syracuse Nationals, unable to continue to keep afloat in Syracuse, sold themselves to the investors down in Philadelphia and became, I believe his name was Irv Kozloff and Ike Richmond was the first owners of the Sixers. Sold the team to the Sixers, or sold the team to Philadelphia. They were brought down here, renamed the Philadelphia 76ers, and the NBA returned to Philadelphia, and I think it was 4 years after that the Warriors and Wilt Chamberlain left Philadelphia, because obviously Wilt Chamberlain played for the Philadelphia Warriors and then moved to San Francisco with them. But 4 years after that, Chamberlain was back in Philadelphia playing for the Sixers, and the NBA championship was also back in Philadelphia. So happy NBA, what is it? Were we considered an expansion team? Would the Sixers considered an expansion team? I guess they would be. No, they weren't expansion. Yeah, because expansion would have been like from the ground up. They were sold, and the Syracuse Nationals relocated to Philadelphia and became the Sixers. So happy Philadelphia 76ers birthday on this day, 1963. And of course, the state of the Sixers these days, a lot of people want to go back to 1963 and maybe rethink all this, maybe not make the deal. But for those hardcore Sixer fans, and I know you're still out there, and God bless you. God bless you all. Happy birthday to the birth of the Philadelphia 76ers on this day in 1963. And that was your day in Philadelphia sports history. The question is, will Pat be back from vacation and have Wi-Fi? I don't know. I know Pat will be back on Sunday. He hasn't told me anything about tomorrow. See, I treat the people here like adults, and if they can't make a show, I don't necessarily need to be notified, just as long as there's coverage. I haven't heard anything, so I'm expecting Pat to be on the air tomorrow night. He'll definitely be on the air Sunday. As far as his Wi-Fi, I have no idea. That's asking too much of me, Joe. I have no idea. The weekend weather here in Elmira, New York is Friday, 54 degrees and rain, and 53 on Saturday, 61 Sunday and 66 Monday and Sunday. Yeah, where I'm at tomorrow, I think it's 46. Oh, no, 48 and rain. Saturday is 50 and rain. And I didn't go any further than that. I'll stick my head in an oven, honestly, at this point. It's depressing. I did a game yesterday, and I'm standing on the bases. And when you're umpiring on the bases, it's not quite as exhilarating as you're behind the plate because you're not really involved in every play. And when it's cold and you're standing out there, it makes the game go by that much slower. And it was cold, it was wet, it was just terrible. And tomorrow I have a game on the bases, so I'm going to be wearing like a Arctic survival suit, so as to get through. And of course, you lose attention. Your attention like wavers when you're standing out there. I've always, being in the military for 30 years, you've had to adapt to all types of different climates, but I've always found it easier to adapt to the heat. For some odd reason. I don't know, maybe it's the mechanics or the chemical reactions of your body. I always thought it was easier to cool down than it was to warm up and be outside when it was hot versus be outside when it's cold. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy there, but to me personally, it was always easier to cool down than to warm up. And so I've always had a not a kinship to the heat, but it's easier to operate in. So I can't stand late May and 50 degrees. It's un-American, goddammit. But let's go back up to a question that was asked earlier here. And Michael Papernick, I believe, asked it. The Phillies have the best record in the National League. I do. At 31, I believe now, or 30 and 18. 50 games into the season. Or, I'm sorry, 32 and 18. 50 games in. They're coming off of their fourth series sweep of the season. They've won 11 series in total. As I mentioned at the top of the program, they've also, for the first time in franchise history, in 142 plus years, have swept the season series against the team. And everyone the bats seem to kind of turning around. Bryce Harper seems to have found his stroke or finding his stroke. JT Realmuto was getting a little bit healthy over those last few games. Brandon Marsh slowly but surely is pulling his way out of it. All seems right. Max Kepler has been a pleasant surprise so far to start this season. And of course, Kyle Schwarber's been Mr. Consistent. All seems well in the world of Philadelphia Phillies baseball, but we've been down this road before, folks, and I'm going to take us back down it because to me, at this point of the season, when you're 32 and 18, the best record in the National League, and you're riding high off of a 7-game winning streak that has been composed of beating up on the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Colorado Rockies, you got to really stop, settle down, and stare at yourself in the mirror. Because, yes, you can only play who they put in front of you. But to sit here and try to puff up the achievements of beating the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Colorado Rockies in 7 straight games, it's homeritis, man. That's what it is. It's the homers of the baseball team trying to make themselves feel better about the fact that this team still has the same problems it had 7 games ago. It still has the same problems it had a year ago, and it still has the same problems it has 2 years ago. That has not changed because they beat up on the Pirates and they beat up on the Rockies. The Rockies and Pirates are a disgrace to Major League Baseball. And I mean that in the most lovingly way. I honestly, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it's so bad. And I know I could probably not last a second a fan of the Colorado Rockies because there doesn't seem to be any willingness to want to win. But to get here all excited about, oh no, here we go. I heard Mike Lauro earlier, very, very briefly. I was kind of in and out. talking about this team like it was some sort of renaissance, that it was been born again. No. This team is the same team that went into the 7-game series, that came out of the Cardinal series pretty much with a lot of questions, and then you lose Jose Alvarado. They're going to have to replace him too. I mean, some numbers that just to kind of have you chew on against the Rockies and Pirates. By the way, these are, I mean, it's a I want to make sure that you guys know this. The Phillies have averaged 5 runs a game over the last 7 games. That is barely like league minimum for good teams to score runs. Now, for the season, the Phillies are not averaging 5 runs a game. They're averaging less than 5 runs a game all season long if you factor in all 50 games. But over the last 7 games, they've averaged 5 runs a game. Where it's really kind of evident here is over the last 7 games, their pitching has allowed 2 runs a game. That is where the Phillies have been winning these games, on the arms of their pitching staff. And that's no surprise, because if there's one thing on this team that you can pretty much bank on, it's the starting pitching. Now, on the other side of that, runners in scoring position. I brought this up on the post game. I didn't write it. Did I write it down? I think they're like 15 for 59 over the last 7 games. That's about a 254 batting average. There's nothing encouraging about that. That's still the same problems that this team has had all season long. For the year, the team is below 250 or below 260 batting with runners in scoring position. That hasn't changed. They're batting 259 for the season, 117 for 451 with runners in scoring position. 15 for 59 over the last 7 games. They have left on base over the last 7 games. They're averaging 7 runners a game being left on base over 8. They're averaging 8 runners a game being left on base over the last 7 games. This is against the Pirates and the Rockies. Offensively, the team is still what it is. And that's not changed over the last 7 games. It's not going to change against the A's. It's not going to change when they come back and play the Braves, Brewers, and whoever, the Blue Jays, and whoever they got going through the rest of the season. And what I love from the homers is they're playing amazing. But, I'm not saying they're going to win. Yeah, yes, you are. That's what you are saying. You're saying that there's nothing wrong with the team and that everything is fine because they've been able to beat up on the Rockies and they've been able to beat up on the Pirates. Am I going to lift a gift horse 7-game winning streak in the mouth? No, it is good. But I'm not also going to get lured away with a shiny object and forget about the problems of this team and that these problems are still there. Offensively, they're still there. The bullpen situation is still an issue. The starting pitching is amazing. Ranger with a strong performance today. But this team is not any closer, in my opinion, of winning a World Series than it was when it started the season. And they're still, to me, not a World Series challenging roster. So get excited about them, but just pump the brakes a little bit, man. They're barely beating up on the Rockies, and they barely beat up on the Pirates. And the Rockies and the Pirates are despicable disgraces of organizations. And yes, I think the owners should be put on notice to either, because I don't think the owners care, honestly. Who in the Rockies organization is any good? I mean, if you took a look at the organization, and I know they drafted pretty well last year, but if you look up and down all 5 levels of minor league and then the major leagues, who in the hell in that organization is like the new face of the franchise? They never spend any money. They never care about spending any money. Now, the Pirates have Paul Skeens, which I think every day gets closer and closer to getting traded. I mean, I think the owners of these 2 teams and the fan bases of these, first of all, I think the fan bases of these 2 teams need to up and revolt against these franchises. Either force the ownership to sell or force the team out of town. Or MLB needs to come in and do what they did to the Sixers, and mandate them, try to figure out and try to win. Because I don't think they care. Honestly, I honestly don't think they care about what's happening with their baseball teams. It's terrible, man. Dave, how are you today? Phillies will have a test next week against the Braves and Brewers. Yeah, they will. And I And I guarantee you, like I've said before, it's a wash and repeat thing. They're going to come off of this thing, hopefully on a 10-game winning streak, all riding high. You're going to have a day off there coming out of Sacramento. Then the Braves are going to come here, and the Phillies are probably going to lose 2 out of 3, or they're going to get swept. And then we're going to get right back into this cycle of defeat that we've always been. And we're going to wonder why. Why are they struggling again? Well, because that's who they are until some changes are made. Go Phillies. Ricky, listen, I agree, man. And I want to also say that I'm not anti-Phillies, and I think they're a decent team. It's just my sights are set higher than being a decent team. My sights are set on winning a World Series, and I don't, 7-game win streak against the Rockies and the Pirates are not getting me, excited about their chances of winning a World Series. I want a 7-game win streak against the Braves, Mets, and Yankees. How about one of them? Or a 7-game winning streak against the Dodgers and Mets. There you go. Dodgers and Mets, a 7-game winning streak. If we can do that, maybe I'll come off my mountain a little bit. But boy, to get excited about beating up on the Rockies, and they honestly really didn't beat up on the Rockies. As I mentioned, the runners of scoring position over the last 7 games have been terrible. They've left 8 runners on base on average a game over the last 7 games. It's been the pitching. Their pitching has bailed them out of these games. Kyler Freeman and Herman Marquez today pitched their asses off. Okay? Pitched their asses off. So to get excited, overly bloomed excited, because you beat the Rockies 2-0, come on, man. You're better than that, Philadelphia. You're absolutely better than that. And then Joe Hale asked if I would bring back David Robertson. What, for his AARP free dinner? I mean, the guy's 40 years old. There's a reason why he's not in baseball right now. There's a reason why he's been bouncing around year to year. No, Joe Hale. I would bring back David Robertson. Remember, we used to think it was Robertson. Robertson. If we were a team that had aspirations of trying to make the playoff, David Robertson is not going to solve the problems in the back end of the bullpen. And I think, and I fear, the only way to do that, they're going to have to go in and trade some arms. Now, do you pick David Robertson up because he's a easy, low risk, high reward type of move because it ain't going to cost you any players? This is going to cost you some money. Yeah, maybe you do that, but that can't be the fix. And it's not going to be the fix. He could be part of the fix. He's a savvy veteran. Maybe he, if you can limit his innings down, maybe he has a fresh arm for September and October. But if you think that's the fix, then no. So if the question is, would I bring Robertson and that's it? No. Would I bring him in as part of a bigger plan? Yeah, probably. More arms, the better. But I've heard that talk kind of whisked around, like David Robertson is out there in the wings waiting for us to come get him. But of course, nobody else in baseball wants him. But apparently he's going to turn into Dennis Eckersley for the Phillies. And again, he's been here. He knows the system that they run. Maybe David Robertson doesn't want to come here. I mean, that can't be the only move. If it's a part of a bigger move, yeah, maybe. But if you're thinking that David Robertson is going to be the cure, then no, I do not. Painter is still hanging deuces in Lehigh Valley. Yeah, he had another good night yesterday. Was it 7 strikeouts over 4 innings? The only thing about Painter right now, Steve, and I've said this from day one, the less expectations for Andrew Painter in 2025, I think the better. The guy is coming back from Tommy John surgery, and there's not going to be a limitless innings put on him, I think, at any point this season. And if we can get through this phase of his rehab and his comeback while he's in AAA, and then worry about him in 2026 when we probably might need him, to replace Ranger Suarez in the rotation if he goes via free agency or whatever changes we might make in the offseason, and to have a fresh, as healthy as he possibly can be, Andrew Painter waiting in the wings with a full, no restricted offseason and spring training and camp. Yeah, I think maybe that'd be the better way to go. But it's great to watch him. I have no aspirations in pulling him up anytime soon. As I said, if he can go the entire season down in Lehigh Valley and just continue to get healthier and stronger and better, 2026 ain't that far away, and he'll be here soon enough. And I honestly, you know, you're asking a kid who's never pitched in Major League Baseball. Some people are. I'm not saying you, but some people are asking a kid that's never pitched in the majors, is coming back from Tommy John, to be a savior of the rotation, which I think that's way too much to put on his shoulders after all the stuff that he's been through already. So that's great to see, and obviously keeping an eye on it. But my expectations of Painter are just to leave the kid alone and let him just get as much time down in AAA as he can. If he doesn't get the curve under control, he won't do much good this year. Well, listen, here's the thing, though, Steve. I mean, yes, the curve, but boy, he throws with everything is high velo, everything is gas, everything. He was an 80, what's he throwing? 90 mile an hour breaking balls, or 82 mile an hour breaking ball and a 90 mile an hour curveball. I get it. But geez Louise, man, when you can throw that hard, now is a lot of that adrenaline? Is that a lot of that, the freshness of the surgery, the Gardenhire type syndrome, whatever. But he's got a lot of good going. And you're right, he does need to he needs to learn how to be a major league pitcher. And people are not going to want that this year. People are going to want him to come right in to this rotation at some point in 2025 and be the savior when he's still trying to learn the game. He's rocketed up down the minor league system. He's obviously having no problem at AAA through two or three starts. But the night and day between AAA and Major League Baseball, that's where men become men and the boys become boys. So, I would just give him as much time as he needs. Joe Hale says, I'd love to see Ranger in the bulb. No, if anybody needs to go to the bullpen, it's Taijuan Walker, right? So here's my rotation going forward. My one, and this is without Nola. I think Nola's done. I honestly, I don't think Aaron Nola makes it through the season. I don't. And I don't know what they do with him. They're not going to be able to trade him. I don't think Aaron Nola makes it through the season. Maybe he goes back on the 60-day Phantom IL. I don't know. But Wheeler, Luzardo, Sanchez, Suarez, Abel, Walker in the bullpen. Walker's a 7th through 8th inning specialist in the bullpen. You go out and you find yourself a closer, and I think we'll be okay. I think we'd be okay there. And then when we get to the playoffs, Abel can go in the bullpen too. And we go with a 4-man rotation of Wheeler, Luzardo, Sanchez, Suarez. That's the best that we can do without giving away the farm and trying to get the rotation or the bullpen better. There's going to be somebody that has to get traded in order to get some quality relief pitching here. But I think we mitigate the damage there. That's what I would do. That's my rotation going forward. Aaron Nola goes on the 60-day Phantom IL, dealing with, I don't know, can we break his ankle? Can get Kathy Bates over there and they can hobble him with the typewriter and the sledgehammer? Maybe we could do that and he can just take the rest of the season off. In the bullpen. He may have to pitch in the pen this year, maybe bring him up in like August. I do not agree with putting Painter in the bullpen. That's two different mechanics, a way of thinking. It's not John Smoltz in year 10 of his career. Andrew Painter needs to be singularly focused. If it was a bullpen that would say, you know what, you're the long guy, we're never going to bring you any high leverage stuff, then fine, maybe. But this bullpen, you never know what you're going to get. Keep Andrew Painter the hell out of the bullpen, in my opinion. How about Nola in the bullpen when he's healthy? No. I don't want Nola nowhere near the rotation. No, Nola's done. And I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings. The guy's velocity is down like 3 miles. Everything is flat, and there's no break to his stuff. He has not figured out that he can't. If there's a problem with his velocity, he hasn't figured out how to overcome that with the junk. He hasn't figured out how to overcome that with his other pitches. He's constantly trying to throw, a 91 mile an hour fastball across the middle of the plate, and that's not going to work. Nola, his rods and his cones are screwed up. His arm is down. Nola might be done. And that's sad because we just signed him to that big ass contract. But does Nola's arm dead? I don't know, but I don't want Nola anywhere near the rotation right now. He needs to go back on the damn IL after this. We need to keep shuffling him around like the way they did to James Bradbury. Keep that thing moving, man, because I don't want Nola nowhere near the rotation. I'm sorry. And I hate to say it about him. He's given us a lot to cheer for. No, he really hasn't. What the hell am I talking about? Nola hasn't given us anything to cheer about. But another bad contract, maybe. So the Phillies 7-game winning streak, 32-18 through 50 games, first place, best record. Is it just the National League? But trending in the right direction. But their next stop will be in Sacramento against the Athletics. Don't call them the Sacramento A's. Don't call them the Oakland A's. Just call them the A's or the Athletics because they don't have a city. And before returning home on Tuesday against the Braves and the Brewers next week. So we're going to keep rolling the Phillies, and, maybe some trades are made. Maybe some signings are done. Maybe some people are shifting around. But to say that this team is fixed and ready to and poised to make a World Series run, I'll go back and watch all of 2024. Go back and rewatch all of 2023, and you can fill in the blanks from there. But don't forget, on this network, we don't give up on the Phillies. This is your Phillies A's schedule. I know there's been a change to this. Big Al will come at you tomorrow night / early Saturday morning. Mike Laro is coming in late Saturday night, early Sunday morning for Steve Fuentes, and I will be here on Sunday afternoon. That's right. I give myself the game that makes sense. I'll be here on Sunday at around 7 for the series finale against the A's. So be here or be square. Made no sense. All right, man. Let's get back to this. You guys are doing good. For my Phantoms coach, I want Sam Moran as coach. Yeah, why not, man? That's an interest. Let's cover that real quick. Ian Lapierre was kind of told that he was not going to come back. Or no, I think he said he was going to leave. Maybe he's kind of pissed off that he didn't get serious consideration for the Flyers job. Maybe he thought he kind of put his time in and should have been given consideration for that job. It makes no sense to me to move him out of that position. I've heard something that it doesn't necessarily mean he's out of the organization, but he's done coaching. So I don't know what that means, but I think the way the Flyers are right now, the most critical part of the organization is in Lehigh Valley, and it's in Reading with the Royals, because these are the younger teams, the players, the prospects, they're all developing down there. We need hockey people down there. We need people that have continuity with what the organization wants to do. We need people like that. And Lappy was in the organization forever, both as a coach and a player. I hope it was a decision, and I hate to say this, I hope it was the Flyers' decision not to retain him as the coach, and I hope it wasn't Lappy's decision by saying, you know what, screw you, I wanted the job as the Flyers. You didn't consider me, so now I'm taking my ball and going home, or my puck and going home. I really hope that that's not the case, because I would like for him to be part of the organization in some way or form. And as far as Sam Moran as the coach, I'm not ready for that yet. We need hockey people. I don't need a washed up player, who's injury prone. I don't need that. And no offense, Joe. I need a guy who can still teach the game of hockey to a lot of highly touted prospects. That list is going to get even longer this year. So I need someone down in Lehigh Valley that's got his finger on the NHL, knows what the game is like currently in the NHL, and can continue that learning process. Because right now, what's happening in the Valley, to me, is a lot more important than what's happening in Philadelphia, because all the talent is in the Valley and not necessarily with the Flyers. So I get what you're going there, but I'm not ready for that yet. So bring me on I don't even know. I can't even tell you who I'd want. Hell, I'll take the job. I'll be the Lehigh Valley Phantoms coach. I'll do that job in a heartbeat, man. That'd be fun. I don't even know who to tell you. Give me some time to think about that. I never even gave it much thought. Nola has the Cliff Lee Cole Hamill syndrome. He gets no run support. Can't blame him for that. Are you seriously going to tell me that his career has been predicated on no run support, Dave? Are you actually going to sit here and tell me that is an excuse? Matter of fact, let's bring this up, because Dave Yarnell's little topic here, a little segment, is brought to you by, that's right, the good folks at Big Al's Excuse Emporium, serving the Delaware Valley's reality-deprived needs since the summer of 2024. If you cannot wrap your mind around the reality of your sports teams. Don't worry about it because you don't have to. Big Al's Excuse Emporium will do that for you. And new for 2025 in the summer, its lack of run support is why Cole Hamels, now you got me saying it, my Aaron Nola is struggling. So you're telling me that his struggles are because of no run support. It's not because his velocity on his fastball is down 3 miles from last year. It's not because everything he throws is flat and up. I don't see the nasty breaking stuff ever. You're blaming no run support now. Has that helped him? Is that a mythical thing? It's not. He's not gotten the best run support throughout his career. But to say that his downfall is because of no run support, are you saying his better days are behind him because he never got run support and now he's failing? The problems with Aaron Nola are physical. What he's doing on the mound. I get what you're saying, Dave. You're right. They've never given him run support, but to sit here and say that that's why his career is falling apart, that's ridiculous, in my opinion. I think Lappy becomes assistant coach under Tocchet. That could be something too. Nola has 2 years. Nola had 2 years as an ace with the rest of his career as a number 3. That's it. Yeah, and again, Dave's right, Steve, to a point. He's never gotten run support, but we can go back through time and talk about pitchers who never got run support. I get what you're saying, but Aaron Nola's been given opportunities. I can't wrap my head around that. You're right. He's consistently not given run support, but that's not why his fastball is down by 3 miles an hour. That has nothing to do with it. Aaron Nola can only control what Aaron Nola can control, Dave. I'm aware of that. But what I see from the pitcher out there now, and the lack of run support is not why he's given up 11 home runs in 8 starts. And why he gives up, he gave up 30 last year. He gives up around 30 home runs a year. That's got nothing to do with lack of run support. All right, that's him not doing what he's supposed to do. So I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. And it's unfortunate. I'm an Aaron Nola guy. I've always liked Aaron Nola. I got a lot of his baseball cards, and they're worthless. I got a signed baseball by him. That might be worthless. So I'm an Aaron Nola kind of guy, but the reality is I think Aaron Nola's done. I think he's cooked. And until he can get the fastball back up to at least a minimum of 95 miles an hour, I'm not in. And he should not be given an opportunity to get back in the pitching rotation until he can prove that he's not a liability out there. And especially with the younger arms nipping at his heels, i.e. Painter, i.e. Abel. There's pitchers in the system that deserve an opportunity if Nola, Wheeler, Suarez, Sanchez, Luzardo, any one of them falter. Blind allegiance to a player because of the big-time contract is a reality, but it shouldn't be. You got Mick Abel, who pitched his friggin' ass off against out-battled Paul Skeens. The only thing Pittsburgh Pirates can hang their hat on is that $1.11 million rookie debut patch, auto relic, Topps Chrome updated series 2024 of Paul Skeens. It's hanging in PNC Park, and the pitcher himself. The only thing that franchise can hang their hat on. And Mick Abel, the former first-round pick back in 2020, who has toiled up and down through the minor leagues for the last 5+ seasons, has came in and made Paul Skeens, smacked him on the ass. And what did Mick Abel get for his troubles? See ya. That way to Allentown. Because of whatever reason. So, if Nola can't do it, if Wheeler can't do it, Luzardo can't do it, if Sanchez can't do it, if Suarez can't do it, if Walker can't do it, then move them aside because we got pitchers down there in the minors that have opportunity and they've earned the opportunity to try to do it for themselves. And that's another thing that's pissing me off about, and this is more of a Dave Dombrowski thing, because now we're married to these players because of these contracts. And I get the obvious reality of the situation with Nola is he's coming back because of the contract he just signed. Walker's still here because of the contract he signed. That's the reality, and I'm not stupid about that. But I don't agree with it. But I get all that. The dude has no idea how to make better uncomfortable. Yeah, he doesn't. It's everything is you're right. There's nothing to that, Steve. I mean, he's just so predictable up there. And I'm sorry. The reality is Noah's done. Noah's done, in my opinion. But we'll see how that plays out. And again, I know Noah will be back and whatever. And you know what else is coming back for season number 6 this year? That's right. The Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Join me and Kyle every week starting right before week 1 of the 2025 Eagles season, as we will break down the game coming up, and we'll also review the game that was. And so much more that me and Kyle do on these programs. Starting on our first episode, which should air around September 3rd, we will break down our NFL picks. We will go through the NFL division by division, first and last place teams, wild card teams, conference championship opponents, Super Bowl opponents, and your Super Bowl 60 winners. And then week to week, we will track and report on the Philadelphia Eagles in the quintessential Eagles pregame show, the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, entering its 6th season. Me and Kyle have been doing this off and on, or not off and on, but we've been doing it for 6 seasons, just on different types of platforms under different names. I think we have like 17 different names, but this is the latest one, the Birds Blast. So make sure you're here starting right before week 1 of the 2025 NFL football season. Oh, man. In the past game coming, is the post game coming on after every Eagles game? It is, Joe Hale. Starting on week 1, we will be bringing back the Birds Flyby. It'll be the quintessential Eagles post game show, as we'll recap everything that happened in the game. I mentioned this the other night. We don't have a permanent host yet. We're discussing that right now. Sal was the host, but Sal has left the network. We're going to be, I'll be holding open tryouts, like Hunger Games style, for the new position as host of the Birds Flyby. My money's on Steve Fuentes, honestly. He's the only one who's got military training, so my money's on Steve to win out. I will not be the host. I'm taking myself out of the running. There's way too much of me on this network as it is. It's time to kind of mix it up. Not to say that I might not appear a couple times as a guest host, but I will not be the host of the Birds Flyby. But we will have a permanent host here soon, hopefully before the season begins, and we'll be able to roll that. So we got you covered on Eagles coverage all season long. And then Mike Laro's coming on with the Penn State post-game show during the football season. We'll be talking everything Nittany Lions. He doesn't have a name for it yet. I suggested the Lions Den as a name to the show. But he's going to come up with his own name. And then Mike will also be bringing back his weekly locker room sports-esque show. It won't be called that, but it'll be kind of built off of that. So a couple of new shows coming back to the network. And obviously we're adding in the Eagles pregame and postgame. So we're going to grow by at least 4 shows over the next few months. So we're excited about that. And, of course, our coverage of the MLB draft and the NHL draft that's coming up here real soon, too. So a lot to look forward to over the next few weeks. I know who I want to see as the host of the fans input. I don't know. I mean, I guess we could do a fan poll about it. I don't know, man. I'm afraid who people might want to see doing it. But we'll see, Joe. Well, I'll let you know, man. All right, let's transition real quick to the said Eagles because we're running out of time. So the tush push lives. And in every teenage boy's wet dream. Oh, man. So let me address that real quick because I find that interesting because Jeff Lurie, who apparently made a little statement or about an hour-long speech kind of I feel dirty just saying that. You know what I mean? Made a little last-ditch effort to try to save the tush push. Went into some colorful metaphors in that speech. And I just want to say one thing. The shame on the Philadelphia Eagle fan for not getting extremely up in arms about this comment because it's so like off color. I don't even know where I'll say this. And you guys know me. I'm not one to pull words or pull punches, and I'm not going to sit here and say to somebody that you're wrong for speaking your mind. That's fine. Right? I don't want to crucify the guy over it, but I am going to tell you this. If Jerry Jones said those words, we would be burying him alive. We would be calling him a pervert. We'd be calling him all kinds of other things. But because Jeff Lurie says it, there's no backlash about it. And I think it's disgusting, honestly. And once again, the homers of this city, the city's fan base, the Eagle Homer fans, completely with their heads in the sand about things where nothing is wrong in Philadelphia. Nothing is wrong with this organization. And it's disrespectful. It's off color. And I get what was meant to be said. And as I said, I'm not crucifying him over it. But I think it's disgusting. And if Jerry Jones would have said those things, we would be burying him alive. But because Jeff Lurie said it, we don't even talk about it because we're not allowed to talk about it. Well, I'm talking about it. And I think it's disgusting. And anybody who supports what he said, maybe you need to look yourself in the mirror a little bit. Everyone wants to claim I'm the villain. Everyone wants to claim I'm the negadelphian. Everyone wants to claim I'm the one that's off the res. And you're going to support or keep your mouth shut about what he said and how you phrase that in this day and age? Shame on you, the Eagle Homer fans. I mean, shame on you anyway, but shame on you for this because you won't want to talk about it. Every time it comes up, it gets brushed aside. And all these so-called talk show hosts or all these podcast hosts who say that your opinion matters and you'll speak your mind and you'll never be censored. Well, they're part of the problem too because they have an agenda just like I do. And that agenda was to bury a story. So if Jerry Jones would have said that, we would have crucified him up and down the pike. I think it's hilarious, but still, it's pretty messed up. I want to see more of Steve. Yeah, we're leaning towards Steve, but we'll see. Everyone's going to rotate through that program at some point. I just want to have a permanent host, and then people just kind of filter in. Jason Kelce spoke to the owners to tell them to keep them. Who cares? Who gives a damn what Jason Kelce wants? But with that being said, they did vote, and then the tush push is going to stay. And that's great. Well, because what it means to me is that the cancel culture lost, which is always a positive thing. Now teams are going to have to be able to force themselves to fix it. We'll see how that what the actual backlash though of the tush push situation is in 2025. Is there a heightened officiating penalty stuff being called? We'll see. But it's back. It's here to stay, whatever. Other rules that got instituted was onside kicks can now occur in any quarter. I did not know that they couldn't occur in any other quarter, but apparently last year you can only do it in the fourth quarter. Well, now that's back, and you can do an onside kick at any part of the game. Again, when did they change it in the first place? I was not even aware of that. The NFL players can compete in Olympic flag football. Who cares? But that's going to be a thing, in 2028? Is that when the summer games are in LA? There's not going to be a new playoff seeding format. So for those fans of the NFC South who are going to say it doesn't matter if we're 8-8 or 8-9 when we get into the playoffs and win the division, we still deserve that home playoff game. That'll remain, as they will not reseed because of your record. It's going to be determined by how you finish within your division and all that. So, and that's good. I'm glad for that. Every division deserves a champion, and every champion should get rewarded. So good for them. The NFL's adopted now a postseason offensive lineman award that they'll give out at the end of the year to honor the best offensive lineman in the game. Touchbacks now will come out to the 35-yard line. Why don't we just stop messing around with it? Bring it out to midfield. Just get it over with, man, because that's where it's headed. What is wrong with the 20-yard line? Why are we constantly trying to keep this field smaller? Touchbacks should come out to the 20-yard line like it was when football was invented. There's no reason to change that. Bring it out to the goddamn 20 and be done with it. I mean, come on, 35-yard line. It's terrible. Playoff overtime rules now also apply to regular season. So they're going to go now with the playoff format of overtime in regular season games. So everyone gets a possession, regardless of every team will get one possession, regardless of what happens on the previous possession of that team, with the exception, of course, if that team decides to run the clock out And by the way, that clock's going from 15 to 10 minutes, now 10-minute overtimes. Was that something? I missed that too. But 10-minute overtimes, and each team will get a possession. Because obviously, if someone scores a touchdown, then the other team can come back and score a touchdown and tie. And go for 2 to win, right? I would imagine. So I'm cool with that. Teams can now talk to players and not just their agents during the 2-day legal tampering phase. Big deal. And then the expanded use of the replay assist, which is always good about getting the call right. So there you go. Some of the new changes that the NFL will adapt in 2025. How are you feeling about some of those? I like a lot of them actually, but with the exception, of course, of the you're coming out to the 35-yard line on touchbacks. When was that a thing? First play of the Packers-Eagles games, they run the tush push. Yeah, that would be probably that'd be hilarious if the Eagles decided to do that. I would be all in favor of that, Joe. But there you go. There's your Eagles tush push is here, and I'm done talking about it. I am done. I spent way too much time over the last week and a half talking about that topic, and I'm done. So there's your rule changes. Next step now is, of course, what? Camp, then preseason, and we get it all rolling again. So cannot wait for football to be back. And just remember, everybody, on Sunday mornings, you're not going to be able to wait for this either. Every Sunday at 9 a.m., the P&M and the AM show. Pat, Mike, and Al Safiri producing your Sunday mornings will never be the same. All right, before we get into the of the night segment, I do want to transition to my list segment of the night. Apparently now I'm going to bring on another list because, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it is summer, or it's the unofficial start to summer over the weekend. Again, you wouldn't know it from where I live, but there are some people out there that are probably listening to this or who will listen to this that are living somewhere where the weather's a little bit more summer-like. And in honor of the unofficial first weekend of summer upon us on Memorial Day, I would like to debut another list for you. MattyB's top 10 summer movie list of all time. These are my 10 favorite summer movies ever. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we did a similar thing around Christmas time last year where I did my top 10 Christmas movies, but we did it over a span of about 2 weeks, and I had clips of them, and we did it really detailed. Well, I got dinged up by the YouTube police for copyright infringements all over the place. So we're not going to do the clips, and I'm going to reveal the whole list tonight because when we come back on Sunday, the weekend will be almost over. So let's get right to it. My top 10 summer movies of all time. Number 10. And by the way, these are in order. Number 10. Weekend at Bernie's. I love Weekend at Bernie's. I thought that movie was so goddamn funny, so new, so hip. And the sequel obviously sucked, and all the other ones sucked. But the first Weekend at Bernie's is hilarious. Absolutely friggin' hilarious. Of course, it's the story of Bernie Lomax, who gets killed because he's in with the mob, and the mob wants him taken out because he's getting sloppy. And then two of his associates from his company find out that someone's embezzling money, so Bernie wants them killed, but the mob decides to kill Bernie because of he's getting sloppy, whatever. They have a weekend. They invite him out to their weekend place out on Long Island. It's actually set during Labor Day weekend, so it's not quite Memorial Day weekend, but it's set during Labor Day weekend. They get there, Bernie's dead, but they got to make it look like Bernie's alive because they find out that Bernie's trying to have them killed. And it's a whole funny little romp down trying to make Bernie look alive, and comic gold. So it's my number 10 favorite summer movie of all time, Weekend at Bernie's. My number 9 movie is Piranha. Do you guys remember Piranha? Kind of built on the Jaws mold, the terror from beneath the waves type thing. Piranha is a story of so it's set kind of in the mountains, and there's this experimental army laboratory all the way in the middle of the woods somewhere, and kids break into it at night and they go swimming inside the tank, but little do they know it's a mutant strain of piranha live in the tank, and they get killed and whatever, and somehow the piranha get released into the river, and they begin their trek down river to the ocean, and a police officer and a girl and his girlfriend are the only thing that stands between the piranha getting out into the ocean and then destroying all of humanity and whatever. Again, very like Jaws like, but something campy about the movie that it really appealed to me, and I've never been able to quite shake it. Again, it's had about 1,000 different sequels, never really worked out sequel wise, but the original Piranha is pretty cool. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. I actually, for the first time ever, saw it on Memorial Day when I was a kid. I'll never forget this day. We rented it from a video place, and yeah, it was a rainy day on Memorial Day, and we sat and we watched it, and it stuck with me all these years. So my number 9 movie is Piranha. Number 8, Friday the 13th, the original one. We all know what Friday the 13th, what the franchise became, Jason and the hockey mask and all that, but the original one is pretty cool. It's actually nothing to do with Jason. Jason is makes one appearance, and that's at the end when he pulls the girl into the lake. But the hockey mask stuff, that was later on. But the first one was the mother was a psychopath who was trying to kill all the camp counselors that were engaged in sex or drugs because they stood by and watched her son drown as they were fooling around. So it was her job to go back through and to purify Camp Crystal Lake. Kevin Bacon, his second movie ever that he was ever in. And those of you who don't remember that, Kevin Bacon was in that movie. He gets killed. He's like one of the first to die, I believe, in the film. But and of course the murderer was the guy in the bag, or it wasn't a hockey mask, it was a bag, burlap sack, was Jason's mother. She was the killer from Friday the 13th. And it spawned, it created what it created throughout the franchise. But Friday the 13th to me was just a really cool movie for a simpler time from back in the 80s. So I liked it. I thought it was really good. Number 7 is Dazed and Confused. Hilarious. I mean, is there anybody out there that does not feel a kinship to the movie Dazed and Confused? I know I do. Growing up the way I did, the whole initiation in the high school was very similar to what I went through at Father Judge back in the late 80s, from freshman or from 8th grader to freshman. Everything about Dazed and Confused, I think we all can relate to in some way or form. And that's what makes the film so great and so nostalgic. And, the story that's happening within the movie is literally a story of all of our lives. It's just, you just got to pick and choose the moment that it was. Just a great film, all around, just a great movie. And of course, it was set back in 76, but it doesn't matter. What they were going through in 76 was the same thing I was going through in 87. And we all can have a similar thing. Now, of course, those days are long gone. We don't do that anymore because we took it too far and ruined it for everybody else. But Dazed and Confused and the initiation into, like, I don't want to say youth, but like teenage, young adulthood, just a great movie. So my number 7 on my top 10 summer movie list of all time is Dazed and Confused. Number 6, Summer Rental. John Candy's on this list a couple times for me, and his first appearance is in Summer Rental. Just funny. John Candy at the beach. Do I need to say more? I believe Summer Rental was also the first movie to feature John Candy in a leading role. Before that, he was just a co-star, kind of a background guy. But Summer Rental was the first movie to feature him in a leading man's role. And they were working on a sequel when he died. So there was going to be a potential Summer Rental 2 coming out before he passed away. But Summer Rental, number 6 on my list. And number 5, another John Candy movie. We're going back-to-back John Candy. We had John Candy at the beach with 6. Now we got John Candy in the woods at 5 with the great outdoors. John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, grizzly bears, the bald-headed bear, the guy with the skunk haircut, lightning, just what else? What else? A jet ski boat. 7-8 hot dogs. Are you going to eat all those? I'm hungry. They're for everybody. I mean, just a great movie. A lesser, I think it's one of his lesser, like, kind of identified films, but just really good, really funny movie. Again, John Candy put in any kind of situation like that, This time playing off of Dan Aykroyd was just hilarious. So there's my number 5. We're now in the top 5 of my favorite summer movies of all time. Number 4, the best golf movie ever made, Caddyshack. I know it's not really a summer themed movie, but I mean, for those of you who've never seen or have seen Caddyshack, what time of the year do you think it is? Summer. I don't know. It just has kind of a summer vibe to it with the beach there too, with the I Christmas Eve, the flying wasp. I mean, just Ted Knight, Rodney Dangerfield. Do I need to continue on? I do not like golf. I loathe golf. Actually, I cannot stand it. But that film, maybe it might actually be the top 10 funniest movies of all time. Caddyshack, one of the most quotable movies in the history of moviedom, and it's number 4 on my list. Number 3 is a little known movie that many of you might not have seen, but I've seen it. It's a film from 1980 called Meatballs, starring Bill Murray, again, in his first starring role. He plays a camp counselor at a place called Camp North Star. And this is a movie that also spawned about 1,000 different terrible sequels. But the original Meatballs, like 79, 80, around that time is when it came out. Again, a different time, different type of humor, a campy type movie. But it works. It works because it's relatable. A lot of us can look at that movie and be like, yeah, I knew this guy, or I knew this girl, or I knew people like this growing up. And especially those of you who went to summer camp. I never went to summer camp when I was a kid. But I've known people that said, yeah, I knew a guy like that when I went to summer camp. It's really campy and far-fetched, but yet it's freaking hilarious. So if you've never seen Meatballs, not Meatballs 2, 3, 4, the original Meatballs with Bill Murray, I highly recommend you go out and see it. Again, it's about a summer camp. It is hilarious. And number 2 on my all-time greatest summer movie list of all time is National Lampoon's Vacation. The original Vacation, Wally World, enough said. I think should also be on the top 10 funniest movies of all time ever. Because of it's just hilarious. Oh my God, you're on tonight. I was like, yeah, no show last night. I had post game, but I'm back tonight. How about Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Amigos? Summer movies, Barbara. These are summer themed films. These are movies that remind me of summer. Again, this is MattyB's list. So those are Fast Times is a great movie, but Fast Times like incorporates an entire school year. Now, I would put Fast Times at Ridgemont High as one of the top 10 teen movies ever made. Might be up there like around 3 or 4. My favorite movie actor was Chris Farley. How about Fletch? Yeah, again, summer movies though. So my number 2 is National Lampoon's Vacation, and not a big Chevy Chase guy, but as Clark Griswold, he works. Vacation is my favorite out of the series. I think Christmas Vacation is better than the original Vacation, but I think Christmas Vacation was number 1 or number 2 on my Christmas list. Matter of fact, it was. So Christmas Vacation was number 2 on my all-time Christmas movie list, and Vacation is my number 2 on my all-time summer movie list. So that brings me to my number 1 favorite summer movie of all time, and Joe Hale steals my thunder. Yeah, it's Jaws, the greatest summer movie ever made. There is nothing that screams summer than a 25-foot, 3-ton great white shark terrorizing the shores of the fictional Amity Island with Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw. Well, actually, I watched it today, too. I watched this movie 1,000 billion times, and yes, when I was a kid, I'll never forget the first time I saw it. It scared the hell out of me. It did scare me from the ocean, and there's been many times in my life where I've been swimming in the ocean, typically alone. I look around, there's no one there, but there's music playing in my head, and you know what the music that's playing in my head, and it scares me right back up onto the sand. Jaws is, to me, the quintessential summer movie. If you don't know what a summer movie is, as a matter of fact, Jaws as a movie was really became the first summer blockbuster. It started its own little thing with that type of movie. That's how successful Jaws was in '75, and I believe we're coming up on the 40th anniversary of it. So, or 85, 95, 05. No, I'm sorry, the 50th anniversary of Jaws this summer. This summer will be the 50th anniversary of Jaws. 50 years ago. Wow. Now, of course, it spawned a bazillion franchises, and there's another Jaws coming out this summer. There's an actual Jaws that Steven Spielberg has his hand in. I don't know. I don't think he's directing it, but I think he's producer. And it's picking up right where Jaws 4 left off. So it's another addition to the franchise. It'd be Jaws 5. So it's coming out this summer. Make sure you're checking it out. But nothing will ever touch the original movie. Just with the suspense and all the stuff that just a great movie. It's just an all around great movie. So Jaws is my number one Christmas or summer movie all time. Again, Grease is like a teen movie that follows these kids all throughout the year. Christmas Vacation was one of my favorite movies. I can watch it any time of the year. I can too, Barbara. It is just funny all around. So there you are. Matty B's all time top 10 summer list. Favorite summer movies. Weekend at Bernie's 10, Piranha 9, Friday the 13th at 8, Dazed and Confused at 7, Summer Rental at 6, 5 is The Great Outdoors, 4, Caddyshack, 3, Meatballs, 2, The Original Vacation, and number 1, Jaws. And I'll be back at Christmas to reveal the top 10 Christmas movie list again when we get back there. So I hope you enjoyed that. I had fun with that. All right, let's continue with the top 10 theme. Let's get back on my worst Phillies trades of all year. Oh, before I do that, remind you that little segment on the program was brought to you by, where's he at? There we are, by the Wraparound with Pat Bernard. Now, 10:30 Fridays is it's new time. Pat will be back. Hopefully, as I said, I know he's on vacation, but I haven't been told anything. I'm expecting Pat to be back there tomorrow. So Friday, 10:30, the Wraparound with Pat Bernard. Make sure you're there every Friday. So now let's get back into this. Matty B's top 10 worst Phillies trades. I think we're up to number 5. I think that's where we left off. So let's recap. Number 10 is the Freddie Garcia trade. Number 10 was the Hunter Pence trade that brought him here. Number 8 was the Ken Giles trade to Houston. 7 was Shane Victorino going to the Dodgers 1 year too early. Way too early. Number 6 was the debacle of the Cole Hamels trade, getting absolutely nothing for our staff ace. And then with the staff ace in mind, let's go to our number 5, and that is the Curt Schilling trade to the Arizona Diamondbacks back in 2000. The Phillies got the Flotilla, Omar Dahl, Travis Lee, Nelson Figueroa, and the Diamondbacks got Curt Schilling. Of course, Schilling was a pivotal member of capturing World Series glory for the Diamondbacks in 2001, and also pivotal in capturing World Series glory for the Boston Red Sox in 2003. Schilling's career blossomed at that stage when the Phillies traded him. And it's criminal that what we got in return from, again, another staff ace that was sent away was one player that actually, I guess, stuck around and did not have a terrible time in Vincia Padilla. But that was it. You know, nothing from Dahl, nothing from Lee, nothing from Figueroa, and a smattering of mediocrity from Padilla. Again, the Padilla Flotilla was the funniest thing or the best thing that he was. But, you know, what Schilling ended up going to do for the Diamondbacks and then later on for the Boston Red Sox, I mean, I think he played for another 7-8 years at a high quality and high rate, the bloody sock, all of that. Really is kind of just it's just criminal. It really again, it's another example of just how treacherous these types of trades can be, and when you don't do your homework and you give away such a commodity. And the Phillies were rebuilding at the time, and yes, moving Schilling, I was not against it, but it's all about the return haul, and that obviously once again this missed the mark in a big way. So there you go. Curt Schilling to the Arizona Diamondbacks on July 26, 2000. My number 5 worst trade in Phillies history. And that means we're down to 4. Getting right down to it. We'll probably finish it next week. Can't wait. And then we'll start the top 10 greatest trades in Phillies history. I can't talk about the recent Phillies because the only games I've watched against these high school teams was the Skeens game, and now Athletics have lost 9 in a row. Who made the schedule? Yeah, Barbara, I went on a pretty long rant about how, matter of fact, I gave you credit about the rant and about how an investigation needs to be really launched into the Rockies and into the Pirates and into the Marlins to a lesser extent to find out really how serious these owners are about being in baseball, because it's disrespectful. It's unhealthy for the game. It's bad for these fan bases, and it's bad for these cities. So I think, like the NBA did with the Sixers, I think MLB needs to do something similar with the Rockies and the Pirates. How would I rank the roll and trade? I'm not going to reveal that yet. No, I can't do that. Come on, don't steal my thunder, Joe. You're never going to get my old trade from the 60s. I Googled it. And that's, you don't know. I got 4 more trades left there, Barbara. I might have something there late from the early days. Never know. I'm a man of mystery. But there you have it. The Kurt Schilling trade, my number 5 worst trade in Phillies history. And that leads me to the Of the Night segment. Yep, of the night. I think we did earlier in the week. I know we got back to the NHL draft. We got back to the MLB draft. I thought we did did we do a Phillies prospect at some point this week? I think we did. Well, we're going to go back to Phillies prospects, and one of the more underwhelming Phillies prospects, and it's a shame what's happened to this guy. And it kind of has a little bit of Andrew Painter mixed in here, but a really good prospect arm, a really good pitcher coming out of college, and just really has had some bad luck. And I speak, of course, of Christian McGowan. When he's healthy, McGowan still teases with a legitimate arsenal. It's almost all sinker slider with 2-seamer that averaged north of 95 miles per hour and topped out at 98 in 2024. And it's a worm killer, meaning that it burns up the ground when it falls, leading to a career of 170 GO. His slider has gotten harder, now more consistently in the upper 80s with depth, and it can miss bats. And his firm upper 80s changeup is the 3rd pitch he doesn't use as frequently. A lot of upside on I think the 15th ranked prospect in the Phillies system. But here's the problem. McGowan's actually just undergone Tommy John last month for the 2nd time of his career. Had Tommy John early, I believe, in his amateur career when he was in college. Now he's had it for a 2nd time, and it's derailed his progression with the Phillies. Was kind of up and down through the minor league system from 2021 when he was drafted in the 7th round. Was making some progress again. The 15th ranked prospect in the Phillies system, had a lot of promise and a lot of prospect, but Tommy John has slowed him down, and he is probably not going to hear. You're not going to hear much about him again until maybe the back end of the 2026 season. So Christian McGowan fighting injuries for the 2nd time in his young career, a major injury, Tommy John surgery for a 2nd time. Really has his career kind of in jeopardy, and it's a shame. And this is what happens with these kids. You know, they come with so much with so much hope and so much potential. You never can tell with injuries, but I've watched him pitch, and when he's on, and all that I read to you is pretty legit. But when you can't stay on the field, you can't stay on the field. And Christian McGowan underwent Tommy John, I believe, last month for the 2nd time in his career. And there you go. There's your Of the Night segment. I know it probably won't make a difference, but I like seeing Rick Tocchet. He makes me smile with good memories. Yeah, yeah, I know, but Barbara, I mean, is that what I wouldn't want a Stanley Cup. Yeah, I don't really care who's making me feel good about it, but again, I told you the Tocchet thing doesn't really move me. Either way, it's just another step in the direction. All right, let's get to the last segment of the night. My favorite. That's right, the MattyB card review show, or the card review segment. This is how we wrap up pretty much every episode. All the summer movies, and you leave out the summer school. Come on, man. Summer school. Listen, the redeeming quality of summer school were the two kids that were kind of like the Beavis and Butthead of that show, of that movie. The blonde dude and the dark-haired dude. Maybe they were the inspiration for you, but come on, man. Summer school, Mr. Shoop. It's got its moments, man. It's definitely not on my all-time list. When is the next show for you not talking Phillies final? I'll be back on Sunday with this show. I'll be back Sunday night with the final word. I got the Fighting's final on Sunday, but it's actually, you know what? No, I probably won't be back talking this show until Monday night. No, actually, I won't do it Monday night because I got the final on Monday too. I don't know, Joe. Maybe Tuesday. Trying to make things happen here, man. Do I have the final on Monday? Hang on, let me check that. Oh, wait, no, there is no game Monday. Monday's the day off. Yes, I'll be back Monday with the final word. Sunday night, I have the Fighting's final, which will be at 7 o'clock ish show. So there will be no final word on Sunday night. No, I'll do what I want. There'll be a Fighting's final Sunday night, but no final word. But Monday I'll be back. I'll be back Monday night with the final word. All right, let's continue on with the card review part. The final word is, thank you, Barbara. Appreciate that. Tonight's card, we've been spending a lot of time in the 87 Tops set, and unfortunately, we're still there. And I don't understand. Unfortunately, it's a good set. It's iconic. Got a lot of iconic players in it, and it's an iconic card set. So tonight, staying with the 87 Tops, a player that bothered me growing up, hated him when I was a kid, went through some off the field type stuff, on the field type stuff, but you could not downplay what he provided on the field when he was within his senses. And his cards are actually worthless for some odd. Well, actually, I'm going to explain that here in a second. But tonight's card review is the 87 Darryl Strawberry NL All-Star card. So he's got multiple cards in the 87 set, or he's got two. He's got his actual player card, and he's got this All-Star card. The All-Star cards were a parallel or insert to the 87 Top set that highlighted the AL and NL All-Stars. And this is Strawberry's card. Now, of course, Darryl Strawberry, we all know and hate him. We all know and love him. Played for the Mets, Dodgers, Giants, Yankees, 8-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion with the Mets and Yankees, NL Rookie of the Year in 83, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner, NL home run leader. The Mets have retired his number 18, and he is also a member of the New York Mets Hall of Fame, but not Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. Of course, the drug stuff, yeah, it is what it is, but you really can't take away for what he meant on the field, especially when it was against the Phillies. He finished with a career 259 batting average, 335 home runs, and 1,000 runs on the nose batted in. Just a pain in the ass to the Phillies, of course. And he was a Met, and he was a Yankee. I mean, just really, and a Dodger. He was all the anti-Phillies teams that he could be throughout his career, but there was no getting away from what he was on the field. And obviously, I think the drugs and the other stuff kind of maybe derailed his career a little bit. Probably could have been, was on the way of being a baseball Hall of Famer. And during the 87 or 86 season where these stats are taken off of, he was one of the perennial players in Major League Baseball. This card is actually an interesting find too. So I've seen this card straight up in raw form at about $2. I've also seen PSA 9s and 10s of this card somewhere ranging between $75 and $40. And there was a card on eBay that just recently sold in auction for $35 of this card, non-graded. So this is one of those cards that it's a buyer's market, right? Darryl Strawberry cards, Dwight Gooden cards, Gary Carter cards, cards from that era, those players, nostalgic value cards are actually pretty profitable and pretty, they make you some money. So I might try to list this card in an auction at some point and see what I can do with it. But again, I've seen it all over the scale, the spectrum, $2, between $2 and $75. I've seen this card go for. So again, this is one of those, definite, and all sports cards really kind of fall into this category. It's how badly the buyer wants it. But it's interesting for a wax era card, a wax pack card, an 87 Darryl Strawberry All-Star card to sell for $75 as a PSA 9 or 10. And, of course, it's nowhere near his rookie year or anything like that. Here's mine, and it's a pretty good version of it. I'm not saying it's a PSA 10, maybe a PSA 9. Again, that 87 Tops is just, half these damn cards were cut wrong coming out of the factory. And this is not, though. This is a pretty good one. The borders are pretty good, sharp corners, and it's not faded. So, yeah, maybe a PSA 9, 9.5. So I might be sitting on a $40 baseball card. And there you go. Your card review of the night, the Darryl Strawberry 87 Topps All-Star card. Phillies got a lot of players from the Mets historically, like Tug McGraw, Dykstra, Wheeler. And don't forget Roger McDowell. That was my favorite pickup by the Phillies, also in that Dykstra trade. Strawberry took most of the wrath from the fans, but Gooden really didn't. Yeah, and they were both kind of synonymous with the same era of Mets baseball, you know. And it's those damn drugs, man. Barber, they'll run you into the ground. I'm telling you, drugs are a killer, kids. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. I am done. That's the final word of the final show of the final of the week. We'll be back, I believe, as I said, Monday night. I know I got the final Sunday, and it's at 7:00. So do I? And I have to do a separate final because I got the Down the Farm thing on Sunday. So I will not be back Sunday night for the Fighting's final or for the final word. I'll be back for the Fighting's final on Sunday, and then the final word will return on Monday. And we'll try to get the show in for the week. I don't think I have I'm not really sure what my post-game obligations are next week, but we'll get as many as we can and continue to ride this thing all the way. Thank you, Joe Hale. Thank you, Barbara. And don't forget, for those of you out there, that doesn't mean just because you're not going to see me again on this show until Monday doesn't mean there's not a bunch of stuff coming. Tomorrow night, the Fighting's final will be back. We have you from Sacramento over the weekend, and it'll be the Phillies and the A's. And let me show you the lineup. I just had it up. Where did it go? And here is your lineup for the A's series. It's going to be Big Al tomorrow night or early Saturday morning, depending on when the game ends. Mike Lauro is going to be in for Steve on Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and I will be in Sunday afternoon, wrapping up the A's series. Tomorrow night at 10:30, as far as I know as well, Pat Bernard will be back with the wraparound as he'll wrap up his version of the Philadelphia sports scene over the week. And then on Sunday morning at 9, this is definitely going to happen, is the PNM and the AM show with Pat, Mike, and Al. So just because it's not me doesn't mean there's not a lot to see here. But I know you all come for me anyway. But till we talk again, I want to wish you guys a happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope wherever it is you're celebrating it, it's not 40 degrees and raining, and it's actually summertime. But I wish you a happy and safe holiday weekend. Enjoy yourself. Also, to all those families, of course, don't forget what this holiday means. With the military in my background, and the military is part of my history, obviously this is a day to celebrate the ultimate sacrifice of men and women from all branches of service and all eras of history that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country and the freedom to be as obnoxious as you want, which I, of course, take advantage of every day. So I want to thank all those families and obviously wish them a solemn happy Memorial Day, as they paid the ultimate price with their loved ones' lives. And those individuals that are currently and will in the future do the same thing. So don't forget what this holiday actually means. So have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Have a fun weekend. Enjoy yourself. Go Phillies. And we'll talk again real soon. You guys take care.